Today I'm going to work on the landing gear. Step 19 is putting together the wheels and tires. 20 is torpedo assembly, which I haven't decided if I'm going to use the torpedoes or not. 21 is attaching the wheels to the struts and all the other assemblies that encompass the landing gear for both sides. The tail wheel was put on a long time ago, and somehow it ended up a little crooked. I can't fix it now. I don't know what happened. I think when I glued it, it wasn't completely set up before I put the two halves of the fuselage together, and I didn't notice it till much later. So, oh well. All right, well, I'm going to get all the parts I need for these wheels and tires and the landing gear. Okay, I got the parts I need for the wheels. Now, something here that is pretty cool is the wheels themselves are separate from the tires. The two halves for the tires and two wheel halves. So that way you get to paint the tires separately from the wheels themselves and then put it all together. Also, another neat thing is one of these wheels has a little post on it, little post sticking up right there, and then inside this one wheel half, there's a notch where this post lines up with the notch, and you press it in there and it fits in there just right. And then the other one, the other wheel half, goes onto that, and you press this all together, and you have the entire tire put together. So, I'm going to go ahead and paint this stuff separately, and then glue it all together. All right. While the wheels and the tires and the landing gear struts I've set aside to let the paint dry on them, I'm going to start working on and checking on the canopy area. There's two main parts to this there's three main parts, but the two parts I'm concerned with right now, I want to make sure that everything's going to fit together well. So you have a this is the main canopy section. The actual windows that the crew can see through are these little windows right here in the front, and then a couple along the sides. And there's also this big curved piece that goes kind of behind and around this machine gun in the back of the canopy area. And that just sits in there like that. Something like that. And then this the main canopy sits down right there, and I'm trying to get an idea of how it's all going to fit together. It looks like it's going to fit together pretty good. Yeah, so what I'm going to do then is glue this part of the fuselage that's around and behind the this machine gun. When that gets all glued down, then I'll mask off the windows on this thing and glue it into place. But I'll glue it into place with PVA glue, and so it's sort of temporary. All right. Alright, so here's the canopy on. There's a little piece that goes on right there over where the machine gun is. I'm going to put that on next. I have the engines glued on. Propellers will go on last, or yeah, probably last. Landing gear, I've been working on it. It's going to go on later. Okay. Let's get this other little plastic piece on. Do some more masking, and then we'll get this thing all ready for painting. Alright, here's what it looks like with the canopy on and the other little plastic piece that goes over where the machine gun is. So this is pretty much ready for painting. There is one piece that goes down here in the bottom where you see this opening. And that's another plastic piece that I think gets a machine gun on it. It's in a couple steps ahead. And we'll go ahead and find that piece now. Alright, here is the bottom machine gun pod. This is going to go underneath right in that area down there where that big hole was in the fuselage. And I think this will be the last step before I paint. So I'll glue this on. Make sure the glue's all dried up. And then I'll mask off these engines. And that's probably all I'm going to need to mask off. And then we'll get ready to paint it. So the horizontal stabilizers and the tail fin have these struts, these support struts, and I've cut them all off the sprues, and I'm now testing the fit. Of them. And let's see, here's the top ones. Here's one of the top ones. This goes on the left side. There's a couple of holes. There's that one, and here's the right side. Okay, I see a problem here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but right there, get this position, there we go, right there. Look at this one right here is bowed upward. This one's bowed downwards. I don't know. I didn't hear anybody at the door.
Somebody on your,
I'm now putting the horizontal stabilizer struts or braces on, and this first set that go on top seem like they're too long. This one kind of bows upward, and this one kind of bows downward. If I pull down on the tips of these rear stabilizers, they straighten out. So what I'm going to do is Not going to glue these on yet. Take them off. And I'm going to put the ones that go on the underside first. See how that works. All right, so so far these struts on the underside are coming up short. You plug them in down here on the underside of the horizontal stabilizer, and then you go to attach them onto the fuselage, and they don't meet up all the way. There's quite a gap. I can only assume the other side is going to be the same way. Yeah, looks like the other side's the same way. They come up short. All right, so I have all the braces put on the rear end of this airplane, top and bottom, and I managed to get them pretty straight. So they're not perfect, but I'm happy with it. All right. There's not much left to do except paint this thing. I think I'll mask off the engines. Double check my masking on the canopy. A couple other spots. There's really nothing underneath that needs to be masked at this point. The only thing really is the engines. Wait on the landing gear, which, as you can see here, I've got them pretty much built. They look okay. Okay, I was looking over my model at this point and kind of looking and thinking, was there anything I missed? And then all of a sudden I saw this. See that hole in the top of the canopy? There's supposed to be a machine gun that sticks out there, and I totally forgot to put that on. So that means I have to take this canopy off without damaging it or the plastic around it. Hopefully it'll be fairly easy to do, but not sure. I didn't use a lot of glue to attach it, but this was definitely my bad. There's a little machine gun right here. That goes on it. That was number E15 right there. It shows it in the instructions, and I just went right by it. That's what happens, I guess, when you don't pay attention. I just blame it on old age. Anyway, let's see if I can do this. So I went ahead and put the torpedoes together, such as they are. There's a little fuse thing that goes on the front of these still, but the main body's put together with the propeller in the back. I'm still not positive I'm going to even use these, but there they are. So I decided, instead of trying to tear this whole canopy off, which I think would be a big mistake, I decided I'm going to take the machine gun that goes inside there and do a little custom fitting so it comes out that hole. But that'll be towards the very end of the build, after it's all painted and stuff. So painting's coming up next, I think. Alright, so here we go. I got it all painted. I did the best I could to try and emulate the camouflage pattern that was on the box. I didn't get it exactly, but I did okay, I guess. And the bottom is just the dark sky gray. I'm taking the tape off now, and we're going to see how it all came out. Okay, here's what it looks like. I got all the masking tape off. I haven't taken, well, all the masking tape off except for these windows right here on the side, because that stripe right there is going to get painted white, or an off-white color. Everything else is off though. This sure is an odd looking airplane, but I think that's part of the reason why I like it. Looks like an animal or something. Some kind of creature. The bottom is the gray. The top is the three-tone squiggly camouflage. And I am about to put down a clear coat of some sort. Yeah. But I just made a big boo-boo. I just said I need to put down a clear coat. Well, guess what? I took the masking off the windows. Now I can't spray there. Huh. That was really stupid. I got ahead of myself. I was too excited. I wanted to see how it looked, and I took it all off. Okay, well, I'll think of something. Alright, so I just put the landing gear on. That's pretty simple. There's no real detail down inside the landing gear bays. This model is, you know, it's a nice model and everything. But it's, you know, the details are soft or non-existent in some places. The rear tail wheel is just this part that was glued in when the two fuselage halves were put together. And right now I have this masked off because there's going to be a kind of a off-white stripe put on this as part of the markings. So here is the paint job all done. There's a little bit of touch up here and there to do, but basically this thing is all finished as far as the paint job goes. I have the propellers painted already. I'm just waiting to put those on till the very end, I think. And of course the decal, so that's coming next. And so this is my final day on the Sparviero Sparrowhawk. by Trumpeter in 1/48 scale, and I have the propellers to put on, and let's see, on the underside I have the decals right there, then they go on the underside here, and that is basically it. Everything else is done. Decals are all on the upper surfaces. This one right here, for some reason, you can see it right there in that angle. Didn't settle down too good. I'm going to work on that a bit. So yeah, a little touch-up painting to do here. This machine gun right here. Touch that up with the black. Maybe a couple other spots here, and there's spots here and there that kind of got scratched or something. I don't know. But anyway, there it is. It was a fun build. Fairly easy. Pretty much the whole thing fit together really well. It was a little uneven as far as the two halves go. There was not any gaps, but a little unevenness in the areas that joined together. It showed up mostly on the fuselage. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the final touches, which is the propellers and these last couple of decals. And then I'll probably put some kind of a clear coat over the decals. Okay. Well, the decals on the bottom of the wings are put on. And that was the last of the decals. There are no stencil decals. You just get a small sheet with the basics. The propellers are ready to be stuck on, and then this model will just about be over. Just have to put a clear coat. Okay, so there's one last thing I have to do to complete this model, and that's on the underside. Right there where I've put some silver paint. There's supposed to be a clear part that goes there, but it does not fit at all and looks terrible. I already tried it and I ended up removing it. So I cleaned the area up, and what I'm going to do is use my micro crystal clear and build that up with probably a couple layers or so. And once that's totally dry, this model kit will be done. As done as I'm going to make it. Okay, so here you can see I've dabbed on a layer of microcrystal clear, and it's going to take it a while to dry, so I will just leave this, set this model aside and let that dry completely until it's dried completely clear. And then I'll be showing the completed model. So here it's going to sit upside down and level, and it may take a half hour or more for that to totally dry out and be clear. So as I said, we're just going to leave this model alone till that's completely dried up. Okay, so here it is, all done. Everything came out all right except for the decals, especially these in the back. They just silvered really bad. They're real thin and they're just garbage. And unfortunately, I can't do anything about it because I already went over the top of all the decals with a couple layers of clear, and you can see it right there, really bad. These Trumpeter decals are really thin, and you can see on this one here that the carrier film around the edges are silvered. That place it didn't really show up too terribly. It's right there, even though it did show up a little bit. But they're so thin. I mean, this one cracked. You can see the silvering on this one really bad. Same with this one. I did all the usual things I know how to do, putting decals down, and these just didn't work. I'm not going to do anything about it now. It's just the way it is. So if you ever get this kit, be aware, don't use the kit decals. Get something better. Besides that, it was a nice kit. Fit together well. Lacks detail, but it looks like, you know, a model of this airplane. So thanks for watching. See you next time.